Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Fairy Tale family. I'm Chelsea, and our goal here is to put a little bit of magic into your everyday. Today we are going to be doing a planning to pack tips guide here for you. So for those of you who are planners, you're like, yes, let's get those plans. Let's make our lists. Let's get our themes on. For those of you who are not planners, you're probably thinking, why do I need to plan to pack? Why can't I simply just pack, Chelsea? And you can. You do what makes your heart happy. But I do have 5 tips for you today that I am hoping will excite you. So part of the going to Disney fun for me, that anticipation before we go, is the planning to and then physically packing portion. I love this part. I love it. There will also be a video coming up about what I'm actually packing, and I'll show you some of my outfits. I'll show you my luggage and how I'm rolling my clothes to fit inside. So that way you'll get to see actually packing to go and how I lay all the outfits out on the bed. It's a thing. It's a full process. But I thought that I could also provide you some tips and tricks on the planning to pack process, so that way when you're going to pack, it does not feel as overwhelming. I have also done a blog post on packing that I will link below, because I physically show you how I plan my outfits out. We'll get into that more in the actual packing video, but if you wanted to see it now, I'll link that below. So you can just jump right into packing, but this is to really build that anticipation and excitement, and also to alleviate some stress around the packing process. This time around, since our trip is in 10 days, Mark and I's our Christmas trip, we're not planning to pack for Callie because she is staying here with my mother-in-law. So planning to pack for a family is a much more ambitious, overwhelming task, and these skills would come in really handy, specifically when you're packing for yourself and also for your children. So let's jump right in, shall we? Exciting. So I have 5 tips for you today on how to pack and how to really plan in advance for packing. This doesn't have to be months in advance, but I do think the earlier you do it, specifically for step number 3, that you'll be better off because you'll be giving yourself a window. So our first tip is the itinerary. You know that when you are traveling to Walt Disney World, you need a plan. This is not the vacation where you show up and wonder, what will we do today? This needs to be planned out. I am going to link our FastPass guide below. It's totally free. It's a freebie, but if you haven't figured out your FastPasses, and I'll put a little link to that video here as well, please do so first before you even get into this. Pause the video if you are 60 days out and staying on Disney property. Pause the video, go make your FastPasses and come back. If you're staying off property, it is a 30-day window. So if you're 30 days away and you're staying not at a Disney Parks resort, pause this video and come back. If you're good with your fast passes, amazing. Check out our guide, send it to your friends, send that little link along. Sharing is caring. But you need to know where you're going which day in order to figure out how to pack. I like personally to align my outfit choices with the parks that we're going into. So for example, if you're going during a non-seasonal event, so you're not going for the Christmas party, you're not going for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, you're going any time of year that there's not like a separate ticketed event. I like to use colors as my inspiration. So when I'm going into Magic Kingdom, I'm wearing a lot of white and yellow, bright, cheery colors, or blues, or even pinks. But really what I'm doing is I'm picking a princess, and I'm not cosplaying. I have before, and that's really fun. It's also super expensive, but it's kind of like bounding. Have you heard that term, Disney bounding, where you're using a character as inspiration for your clothing? So if I am bounding, let's say as Belle, I could be doing like a yellow blouse. I used to have one that has fringe on the front. I loved that blouse. I will try to find a picture of me in it, and if I can find one, I'll put it here. And white shorts, maybe with little red flats. More recently, I've been going for that midi skirt situation in like blush pinks with fun tops, kind of like the one I have on. I did wear this exact shirt, best day ever, in Magic Kingdom with a black and white polka dot tutu tulle skirt and these exact ears. So it was kind of going for that like Minnie Mouse vibe. I'll put a picture of myself in that here, or in that outfit here, from our most recent trip back in February. And it was definitely warm enough that I could be in short sleeves as well. That was really comfortable. I wore sneakers with it. We'll get into all of those tips in the future, but the first thing you really need to know is your itinerary. Where are you going? And then what are you doing while you're there? So if we're going to ride Splash Mountain, I might do my hair differently so that it can withstand getting wet. If we know that we're going to be doing a tour, or like in Animal Kingdom, if we're going to be climbing something, I'm not gonna go with a tulle mini skirt or midi or mini for that sake. So you really need to know where you're going and what you're doing. I tend to match the tones of my outfits to the park. Epcot and Hollywood Studios tend to be a little more open, where I can feel like I can wear jean cutoffs or maybe a little more casual. For me anyway, but for Animal Kingdom, I go with like greens, forest greens, tans, whites, deep dusty rose, pinks. Like I'm trying to do that more muted tone to feel the park out. And for Magic Kingdom, my tones are a lot cheerier, more whimsical, because that's how I personally like to dress myself when I go to the parks. You also need to know in your itinerary, will you be going back to the room before to have like rest time, refresh time before dinner, or are you doing the whole 12-hour spread? Because that means during the day, depending on what restaurant we're headed to that evening, that means that I will be dressing either less casually or more comfortably, depending on when we're going back. When we travel with Callie, we typically go back to the room for rest time, although that may change going forward. So that means that if we're gonna be in the parks longer, I will have to shift kind of, or bring a second pair of shoes or something that will shift my outfit dynamic. If this isn't important to you, I'm not judging if it isn't. My sister, love you, Mal, she likes to wear like athleisure wear in the parks because it's comfortable, it's breathable, she can be sweaty and it's not gonna get ruined. That's not my style. I'm not like an athleisure kind of gal unless I'm hanging around at home maybe. But when I'm going into the parks, I like my outfit to align with our itinerary. So figure out what you're doing first. Tip number 2, check the weather. I know that seems silly and obvious, but you would be very surprised by the amount of people who show up without ponchos. So there's a rainy season in Florida, and it tends to be in hotter, warmer months where it just pours for 10 to 30 minutes a day, and then it goes away. But there are hundreds, arguably thousands of people who run out of the parks immediately to go back to their room to like dry off and figure out what to do with the rest of their day. Don't be those people, friends. What happens is that the lines clear up and you can ride whatever you want when it's raining. So pack the ponchos. You don't need to buy the $45 vinyl ponchos with Mickey on the back. They're cute, but ultimately you're probably going to end up tossing your poncho after the rain passes. So we have something called Ocean State Job Lot. We go to a dollar store, we'll go to Walmart, and we will stock up on at least 1 pouch per day. They're also like this big, so they'll fit in any Disney bag you bring into the parks. I will also link here, maybe put an image on the screen of ponchos that my sister found on Amazon that come in these like little balls, and you like break the balls and there's a poncho inside. They were kids sizes. So I think she got them in like black, red, and yellow, like Disney-ish colors, think like Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse. And they were really inexpensive, easy to carry, and super convenient. So I will link those here. So check the weather, at least for rain. But also please check it so that you know what you're getting into. If you're traveling during warm months, you want the least amount of resistance from your clothing as possible. You don't want to be tugging. You don't want to worry if you can see sweat coming through it. You really do have to plan for those super hot days because you're going to go outside and just melt. We used to go in August because it was inexpensive. We could stay at a great resort. There were never any lines. That is the bonus of going when it's hot. And I'll also put that video right up top, when to travel to Disney and when not to. But in those hotter months, you simply are looking for light layers. We are traveling in 10 days in mid-November, and I thought initially, because we live in Massachusetts and I wasn't thinking about it, oh, it'll be so cozy. I can wear sweaters. Okay, I looked at the weather today, and 10 days from now, it's going to be 80 degrees, which even if that's not super hot for a Floridian, that is hot for someone who's used to it being like dabbling in the 30s now. So I can bring that sweater, but I'll wear it at nighttime, and during the day, I'll need to wear a t-shirt so that I'm not sweating through my clothes, okay? Check the weather, check it. Make sure you know what you're getting into weather-wise. Tip number 3 is maybe my favorite tip, and this is the research phase. So this is when you get to go onto Instagram and put in your hashtags, Disney style, Disney fashion, Disney fashionista. I'll list some of them here on the screen. But this is when you get to find your fashion inspo, if you will, hashtag included. So that way you know, like, what kind of outfits are you trying to build? I am going to show you what I found, or who I found rather, and now I'm basically her #1 fan. Her name is Allison. I'm going to put her up on the screen here. She works for Disney as a freelancer, and her style is what I want my style to be. I'd like to say her style is my style, but I'm not as chic as she is. But I bought like this exact sweater because of her. So I found it on Poshmark. Big tip here when you're doing your research, we'll get into that in just a second, is where to look for clothes and what types of clothing you want to look for longevity. So I bought this exact sweater, and I own a very familiar skirt. So if you've been following along here on the Fairy Tale Family, you'll know that I'm undergoing a fairly significant weight loss journey. Videos above if you want to watch them. So because of that, and because I don't like waste, I'm not a wasteful person. I don't like to think I'm a wasteful person. So because of that, the clothing that I am buying needs to do certain things for me. So when I'm looking for sweaters, because I'm 2 sweater sizes down from where I was prior to surgery. So when I'm looking for sweaters, I want to make sure that they're comfortable on me now, but that also in a year from now, they'll be that like big, loose, cozy, comfy fit, which I still think is super cute, especially in the winter. And when I'm looking for skirts, right now I'm looking for strictly elasticated waist skirts. And that's because I can wear them now, and then I can also probably wear them a year from now. And they tend to be less expensive. So I'm not trying to buy things off a rack and then donate them immediately after or sell them immediately after. So I went to Poshmark first. I sell some of my own clothing on Poshmark, especially as I'm growing out of it. But I also really like the idea that I can find something that's being like recycled, but it's been well maintained. So I bought the sweater from Poshmark. I also bought a skirt from Poshmark that I will show you in my packing video. And And I'm likely going to buy one more skirt from Amazon if I can't find something similar on Poshmark. But I like the prices. I also like, this is not sponsored by Poshmark. I really just like using it. I like that you can counter offer so that if you don't think something is a fair price, I like that. So I'm not going to Shop Disney, which I love. I love Shop Disney, but I'm not about right now paying, you know, $60 to $70 for a Spirit jersey that I may or may not be able to wear in a year. If you are a consistent size person, I aim to be you, and I would love to be able to go onto a website and just buy a shirt that I know is going to fit me from here until the next 5 years. We're working on that. That's part of our health journey, friends, is that we're working on that. But right now I am trying to use financially responsible resources and environmentally sustainable resources to get what I need, but I'm going to my closet first. So as you're building out your research, your Pinterest board, taking screenshots of outfits that inspire you, make sure that you can fit in some of the pieces that you own too, so you're not worrying about spending all of this money before you even get to your magical Disney vacation. I'm thinking about buying, while I'm there, one of the light up sweaters, the Christmas ones. I am justifying the reasons why they're expensive, but I think I can also like wear it to school for the next couple of years because we have like an ugly sweater day at school. Side note, sidebar. Okay, so do your research, start your planning, make sure you're using pieces that you own as well and mixing in other pieces too. While you're doing your research, I have a freebie, another freebie down below if you're interested. It is a Disney outfit guide that's more generic for times of the year that aren't ticketed events like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. You could absolutely use the guide for that, but I know that personally I'll be tailoring my clothes to a holiday theme when we're going. But we do have a Disney outfit guide that's entirely free, posted below. Tip number 4. Your luggage. So how you're traveling to Disney matters in this case because it determines the size of, basically the size of suitcase, the size of whatever you're going to be packing in, and that makes a really big difference in how you pack. Are there items that you can rewear? Do you have access to a washing machine while you're in the parks? If you're staying at a more deluxe resort that's bigger sized, you will have access to a washer and dryer, which is amazing. This trip we won't because we are only there for a couple of days and we're staying at Art of Animation. So we will not have access because we don't have a suite and we don't have a 2-bedroom. So we're just staying in a studio, which is fine. But are there ways for you to rewear? And that could be simply like, maybe you're looking at re-wearing socks or pajamas or leggings. You know, pick a few pieces that you can rewear and wash while you're there so that way you don't have to plan one thing for every single day if you're only taking a smaller amount or you're only going to be packing in a smaller space. We're just taking carry-ons this time, so I'm going to be using the rolling technique for my clothing. A friend of mine taught me years ago how to roll my clothes neatly so that they won't wrinkle and that I can kind of shove them together instead of stacking upwards, which takes up more space. So when I do my actual like look at me pack video, you'll be able to see how I'm rolling my clothes. You need to make sure that you can identify the luggage you're bringing before you start like laying out hundreds of pieces that definitely aren't going to fit. And tip number 5, friends, shoes. So this goes along with your research, it goes along with your itinerary, it goes along with the weather, and it definitely goes along with luggage. So my biggest tip for you is to start figuring your outfits out from the feet up. I have been the really foolish girl in Disney and on other trips wearing super cute sandals, but limping with bleedy blister feet. It's disgusting and really quite painful. Disney is not a place where you'll be strolling a mile or two during the day and returning at night with happy, non-swollen, calm feet. Friends, you're going to be doing so much walking no matter how long you're in the parks for, that you need to start with something comfortable. Please learn from my mistakes. When Mark and I went on our honeymoon to Rome, we quite literally could not see a lot of their historical sites because I wore these really cute strappy gold sandals and my feet were actually bleeding onto Roman cobblestones. Don't be me. Don't be me. I think Mark's going to be really proud of me for this tip because I've learned my lesson. I really have. I'm going to include some images right here on the screen too for you to see what options are available, because there are some really cute little sneakers, and I think sneakers with a midi skirt or sneakers with shorts is totally fine. And you might be good with like running sneakers. I feel like my feet look weird in them. I mean, when I'm exercising, whatever, I don't care what I'm wearing, but when I'm like taking pictures in the park and I have some pictures in mind I want to take where my feet will be visible, I don't want to be in running sneaks and a skirt. So really it's up to your personal preference, but my biggest tip is to start with your shoes up. If you live somewhere where you're a walker by nature, like if you live in a city, this is obvious information to you. But for those of us who like commute to work in a car, we walk from our car to our classroom or your car to your office. And then like, yes, I'm on my feet all day. I still don't wear heels to school. But I'm able to wear shoes that like might pinch a little. You know, like they're cute and kind of comfortable, but after 12 hours are not comfortable. I can get away with wearing those depending on the day at school. You cannot in Disney. Don't be like me. Start with the shoes. So let's recap your 5 tips. 1, know your itinerary and what you're doing. 2, know the weather. Know the weather. Prepare for the weather. 3, do your research. Build those Pinterest boards, go on Instagram, find those hashtags, and use our Disney outfit guide below. 4, know what luggage you are packing in. And 5, build your outfit around your shoes. That's all for today, friends. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me talk to you about how excited I am to plan to pack. I know it's extra, but it will help you. I hope you have a magical, wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.